Alrighty, we are live.
Hey, hi everybody. We are live with Mortgage Talk, and you've got myself, Kathy Colkitt, loan officer for decades, and you've got my sidekick who is just phenomenal, Melissa, our director of marketing. Hi, Melissa.
Hey, Kathy. Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining us today.
Yes, thank you. I'm so excited. So much news, breaking news that's happened over the weekend and this morning, and things that are out there that I think are so important for you to know about. One, the shutdown. The shutdown is over. It has a temporary stay. And then also the 50-year mortgage that has been going around like wildfire. Please share this with others. You're going to want to hear this and see the numbers, and what is in your best interest. So let's start with the shutdown. Again, this is not a political thing. I'm just researching to see what does this mean. So I'm just giving you information and information only based on what I know. Please verify yourself, right? So you can always look and stuff and listen, but always verify. So the shutdown, it's kicked until January 30th of 2026. Basically, I think to get through the holidays and, get people their paychecks and stuff. And of course, the airlines have just had a hard time, and the traffic controllers and so on, and SNAP and all those things that everyone has been talking about. So it's not that it's over. I look at just kicking the can down the road, right, till January 30th, 2026. All right, so this is from what I've read and reviewed, this is how I understand it to be working. So there still needs to be a vote. The Senate voted 60-40. And so now there's a vote that must go through the House. If that passes, then a vote that must be signed by the president. So not a vote, but the president needs to sign it. So if those two things happen, then this will be moved. And my understanding from what I've read is that that should all happen this week. So tomorrow is Veterans Day. Thank you, veterans, military families, for your service. Some of you have given up the biggest sacrifice there could ever be, which is the loss of someone. So my heart to all of you veterans and military, you know that we love you. We support you so much. Thank you so much for your service. And tomorrow's Veterans Day, so everybody's closed is my point about that. So hopefully it will be done this week, depending on that. So things I think I know, funding for the military, construction, and veteran affairs. So funding that will continue, I guess, until the end of January is what I'm talking about, is it, or start if they've stopped. It'd be funding for the military, construction, and veterans affair will continue till the end of January. Agriculture and FDA and operations for the legislative branch, those will all continue. They will restore full funding of SNAP, and all federal workers who are working or furloughed without pay will receive their back pay at the earliest date possible after the shutdown ends. And then note, you'll continue getting paid through January 30th, 2026. Everything's open, things do change. It's always ebb and flow, but that's what they're saying today. It reverses the layoffs that were implemented during the shutdown and prevents any federal workforce reductions, which are executive branch layoffs, until the end of January, meaning that when they come back at the end of January, I guess everything's up for possibilities. So employees who have laid off notices, they will have those notices rescinded and will receive back pay and make them whole. Affordable Care Act subsidies will remain a point of contention and will be in place and re-examined January 30th. So they're not saying no, they're not saying yes, they're just going to keep that going, is how I understand that subsidy, until January 30th of 2026. I just want you to know this is all until January 30th, 2026, and there will be new negotiations by the Senate and the House to approve them. All of that, it will start over again. So there is way more information online. I'm sure you can look it up. I just wanted to hit on a few hot items that are in front of us and that are important to so many people that I've heard. So anyway, that's regarding the shutdown. There's a breather for a moment, and we'll go with that. So 50-year mortgage. I'm just telling you, I've been doing this 30 years, you guys. I think that's the biggest mistake, in my opinion. Everybody has their own opinion. Let me share why I think it's a mistake, okay? This is for educational purposes only. This is my, are we sharing screen now, Melissa? If
Yeah,
you
you
want,
can go ahead and share.
if you want to put that one thing up here in just a moment, so I'll
Yes.
tell you when. So anyway, it's the 50-year mortgage. You know, I have had 5 clients in the last 18 months who are anywhere from the ages of 19 to 24 save 60 plus $1,000. That's because they're living at home. So on a 50-year mortgage, have your kids save 10% of the down payment. You can gift another 10, so they have 20 if you want, but they need to have 10% in. And if they're living with you, put that money, have them put it in a savings, teach them, learn how to potentially pay off their home quicker than a 20, 30, or 50-year loan. And that's what I want to show you is not only what the 50-year will cost you, but if you look at a Home Select loan with us, it's it's a HELOC loan that's in first lien position. It has a checking account attached to it. You may be able to pay off your home in record time. Again, this is for example, this is an example for information purposes only. So I'm going to be using, Melissa, if you want to put up on your screen that one banner, I'm
Yes.
going to use the Home Select loan. You can see it's an all-in-one. We're going to look at a $400,000 purchase price at 6% interest fixed rate and an APR of 6.089. This one shows a 20% down using 10,000 net income per month, and 20% of that net income is discretionary per month. Okay, so that's what I want to show you. All right, Melissa, may I share my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I need to click that button. We're all learning here, so I appreciate your guys' assistance in us learning. So hopefully you can see that it says numbers don't lie.
Yep.
I'm
Perfect.
gonna blow it up. So these are all estimated figures based on that scenario I'd shared before of the $400,000 purchase price, okay, and also a 20% down. So principal and interest payments on a 30-year P&I, we call it principal and interest, at that 6% interest rate and that APR of 6.098 or 89, it's $1,918. A 50-year is $1,684. You're like, cha-ching, I save $233 a month. It is not a cha-ching. It is let me strangle you and you not have something later. And let me show you why. Whether you choose to do a Home Select, not many can qualify for Home Select. You've got to have good credit. You have to have reserves and all that. However, it is what it's what I believe you might want to be striving for. I believe most people would want to go for this loan. So, but you do have to have some things aligned. Here we go. And I did this intentionally so I could just blow up certain sections for you. So interest paid, the banner that Melissa had showed you, the 10.3 years versus a 30 year, all right, the interest paid on that was 157,000. On a 30 year, it's 370,683. On a 50-year loan, your interest paid is 690,400. This is as the 10.3 years,
Wow.
you'd have that other one paid off. The 30 years when you have that fixed, this is a fixed rate loan that we're looking at would be paid off, and a 50-year fixed rate loan be paid off. So look at the difference in interest paid. That should startle you. First of all, you bought a $400,000 house, and with 20% down, you're at 370, or excuse me, 320,000. So at 30 years, you could have bought 2 houses, right? At 50 years, you could buy like way more. So 3.
And those numbers are just the interest, correct? Not,
That's the interest.
wow,
Yeah,
that's
that's the
crazy.
interest. This is huge, you guys. This is what people don't want you to know. They don't teach you. We should be teaching this in high school. It just makes me so sad. The less time you owe something, technically you're going to have less outgo, right? So over time you would pay less if you pay it off faster versus later. So 50 years is not your friend. And again, you're saving $233. Is that what you really, really need to do? So let's see if that is correct. All right. So now Principal paid. So remember we talked about P&I, principal and interest. On 10 years on the Home Select. Now remember, on the Home Select loan, you would pay it off in 10.3, 10 years, 3 months. So in 10 years, this is how much principal you would have paid down already, 302,786. And remember, the house was 320,000 as far as the loan amount goes. The house is 400,000, but the loan amount 320. In 30 years, compared to 10 years Home Select, you only would pay 52,205 towards your principal, right? That's why you're paying so much interest. On a 50-year, in 10 years, you would have only paid 13,848 towards principal. So I put a few words up here that are so important. Let's say you want to sell or refinance in 10 years, okay? And remember, this house originally was 400,000. It's going to go up in some kind of value. That is true. Depending on the market, the average is like 5.4 a year approximately. This year is going to be lower. We're in a decline, but over time, over 10 years, you're probably going to average 5 to 6% equity every year, potentially, right? That's all potential. However, look at how much you're losing by going 30 and 50 years compared to a 10-year through a Home Select. You're years behind in paying that off, years behind. So again, if you're saving $233 a month, is it worth it to exponentially X factor a huge number to actually save that 233? Plus, I want you to hear me on this. Let's say you go 50 years. Oh my gosh, the average age of getting a home used to be 33, now it's 40. So 40 and 50 is 90. So at 90, you pay this off, really? I mean, and again, I understand most people do refinance or sell within, it used to be like 7 to 10 years. Now I think it's 10 to 15 years, whatever the average will be during your process of life, right? So you won't keep the same loan and or you won't keep the same house, or both maybe. However, look at if you went to refinance in 10 years, you only have 13,000 in equity. And if you put 20% down, you're going to still only have, you may not even have a total of 20% equity. I don't know. Again, it's numbers don't lie, and you have to do all the math. But wouldn't you rather almost have a house paid off versus still owe potentially 80 or 70% of the original purchase price going forward? I mean, that's what you're looking at. And again, I just want to raise the question, is it worth $233 to you? You know what? Maybe you need medicine every month and it is worth $233. And you know what? If it is, then that is the right loan for you. That's what you need to do. But if you aren't in a pickle like that, you need to rethink what is best for me. And our standard is always the 30-year fix. I mean, nationally, that's the standard. You could look at an ARM and so on. There's all different types of loans that you can look at. I'm just trying to get you to understand interest, how much you're paying, and if you could afford and or do a Home Select loan, how much it would really, really benefit and save you. So this is potential savings. A Home Select versus the 30-year fixed mortgage, you would save approximately $213,600 and that's interest. So that's huge. That's a lot of money. That's half of what you paid for the house. So that is a lot of money. 50-year fixed, the savings that you may, again, this is you pay your loan on time, all those things, you could save potentially $533,400 between the two loans. This is huge, you guys. I'm just saying it's huge. The Home Select, again, it's in a first lien position. HELOC, home equity line of credit, has a checking account attached to it. And so your funds go in there, and we can talk more about that. You can go online, Melissa, and YouTube. We've done tons of Home Select examples, so you can look at that on YouTube. We have quite the library there. But that is the question, is $233 a month potentially saving you enough when you could potentially be saving $200 to $500+ in interest? Seriously. I just want you to really think of that. I just think the 50-year, I think it was Japan, but one of the Asian countries did a 100-year loan and they found it had no value over time. So it doesn't. I mean, all it does is make banks get richer, you guys, and richer. I would rather you be wealthier and wealthier through, saving. Oh my gosh. And just think, I mean, don't get me on numbers. Numbers don't lie, but just, okay. So just think about this. If in 10 and a half years, you paid 157,000 in interest and 30s here, you could be taking that money, that 370,000, starting from 10 years and 4 months, and investing it somewhere that averages a certain percentage for you, so that in 20 or it'd be 19 years and 6 7 months, you would have a wealth of money. I mean, this is not growing at any rate. Can you imagine if it grew at 5% or 6% or 10%, for you, if you invested it somewhere? So if you kept making that payment because you so want to do the 30-year fix, or even the 50-year, if you really want the 50, but you do a home select, and then this money, you just save and put it away and it grows for you exponentially. Oh my stars, you could be the Rockefeller millionaire there is. So really, there's other ways that your money can help you other than paying for a long time fixed rate home loan. So again, if you need it that way because that's what works for you, or financially or medically or debt wise or whatever, I'm not saying they're good or bad. I'm saying compared to a home select, if you could qualify for home select, that's what you want to do. And I want you to be aware what a 50-year is going to cost you. Please be aware. And this is at 6% interest rate. I don't even know what a 50-year. First of all, the home select doesn't even have an option for 50-year for a 50-year loan. So I had to do a lot of manual calculating, but anyway, I probably have said it 100 times. This is just, I think it is just not in your best interest. I'll stop sharing now, Melissa. So just it just makes my heart sad that we hear about when rates go down, and when the feds actually lower the rates. We have educated you. You have listened to us. It is not your mortgage rate. It's the short-term lending money that the banks overnight borrow against to then lend you at 3, 4, 5, 10 times that amount. Just like credit cards, the average is like 28 to 30% interest rate on a credit card. My son-in-law's dog got sick, and he was filling out that credit card to get a credit card to help pay for your pet. It was at 41% interest. I don't even
Oh
know
my
how
goodness.
all of that can happen. I don't know how the laws can allow all of these interest rates. So crazy. But just sharing with you that it's not worth it, you guys. Save up, live below your means, save, don't spend all your money, only deal with 70% of your net. That means your take home, put the rest away. And then as it grows, you can decide how you want to do that, if it's investment or savings or emergency funds or tithing or whatever. But try to live with 70% of your take home money. And that's after they take out for medical or 401ks or all of that stuff. What's remaining, 70%. Try to do that so that you can have the future you want to have, not in a 50-year mortgage that you'll be potentially not upside down in, but so little will have been paid after all the years of aches and pains. And the only ones getting rich are the banks. So I want you to be the one who gets wealthier somehow, some way. Numbers don't lie. They really don't. Looks magical, but it's mathematical. So as my girlfriend would say. So anyway, this is just back to the 10.3 versus 30. It does show you saved 213,000.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to show this again just because it's such a good visualization of what you're talking about.
Yeah, interest paid 157 versus 370. If you'd like to know this for your home, you can do a refinance or a purchase, doesn't matter. You can do it on investment homes, you can do it on a second home, all different kinds of things. But call us, text us, email us. Melissa will have all kinds of ways you can connect with us. I don't carry your pigeon. That might be a way too. I'm not sure, Melissa. But
It's possible.
we are truly here to help and serve. I've been doing it my whole life because I want you to be better at your future, and what that will look like for you. So anyway, for those concerned, the shutdown is potentially over, provided it passes the House and the president signs it. And potentially that's going to be by the end of the week. And everybody will be paid and made whole. And then they'll start this again in January sometime because it's January 30th, it goes bye-bye. So I don't know. Ever since I was a young girl, I say, man, they never balance the budget. They always kick the can down. I've been saying that for many years. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry we're still there. So hopefully they'll get it settled and we can move on and do business, knowing what our future plan is. So that's the goal. Melissa, as always, thank you, thank you, thank you. Great show. Thank you. And
Yeah, thank you, Kathy. I'm excited for next week's topic as well. We're going to have a good one. We're going to be talking about lower credit scores and possibilities there.
that's great. Yeah, actually, yeah. If you've been denied, if you've been non-approved, rejected, or terminated halfway through, you're going to want to see this one. So, all right,
Yep.
guys, until next week, take care, and we will visit next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.